So hello and welcome to today's video. So if you're a fan of any Rockstar title, you've undoubtedly heard some kind of myth or mystery surrounding it. If it's San Andreas, it's Bigfoot. If it's GTA 4, it's Ratman. If it's Buddy, the werewolf. And if it's LA Noire, it's Tarzan. However, nowadays many of these myths have proven to be completely false, as all the aforementioned games have been completely data mined and no traces of them ever exist. And the fact they're also all over 10 years old and there's no kind of footage that ever surfaced anyway, but the GTA myth hunting community is a very notable cornerstone of the Rockstar community, constantly scouring the worlds of Los Santos and 1890s America to try and find out the answers to some of the game's biggest mysteries. But where did this community come from? Well, in this video we're going to be going over the history of the GTA myth hunting community, and we're going to go as far back as Grand Theft Auto 3 and GTA Vice City. So GTA San Andreas definitely popularised them, but they also predate San Andreas by many years. But back then, the myths surrounding GTA 3 and Vice City weren't exactly anything that people were interested in really, for whatever reason. The two biggest myths prior to San Andreas and GTA at the time were zombie Elvis Presley and the serial killer. The zombie Elvis one was because the newspapers that can be found around as debris in GTA 3, which mentioned sightings of a zombie Elvis Presley, and the serial killer one was just how many people completely mistook the Apartment 3C Scarface Easter egg. Because in that Easter egg, you find this apartment, you enter it, it's completely mute, there's just like a chainsaw in a bathroom and blood all up the walls. To be fair on this one, it is quite creepy in the way it's encountered, and if you never saw Scarface, then the reference is kinda lost on you. But still, people took it as proof that there must be a serial killer out there in Vice City. It really was the more so traditional hoaxes that people were more interested in. Stuff like fake missions, hidden areas, secret weapons and cars, that kind of stuff more so than the supernatural. We all know these kind of hoaxes have been plaguing the gaming scene since the NES, if not older. It really was GTA San Andreas that caused the entire myth hunting scene to just blow up overnight. One of the reasons behind this is because of how insanely massive the San Andreas map was for its time. Every GTA fan has heard this probably like 8,000 times before, but the sheer size alone of San Andreas kept players searching this monumentally massive game for ages. Rockstar had also included two, at the time, brand new areas they'd never tried before, the countryside and the desert, both of which had their own weird oddities surrounding them. They rarely, if ever, got used in the story, and exploring them also opened up a lot of questions like these mysterious interval cabins that CJ can find in the woods, or the secret military base and the fact there's a mass grave nearby, or this incredibly strange tiny house of a satellite nearby on the far edge of the map, and many more. In all fairness, Rockstar did actually start up quite a few of these myths and mysteries themselves. There was a lot of debate on who this mass grave belonged to. Was it a serial killer going around San Andreas? Was it trespassers who were caught sneaking into the military base? To this day, it's still not entirely clear if this was fully intentional or Rockstar wanted to bring some life into the non-populated areas. But as players travelled across San Andreas, mysteries were beginning to form. One of the very first ones being ghost cars. Now, ghost cars appeared in the Baco Beyond woods. They'd just spawn, drive a little bit, and then come to a complete stop. These cars were all beaten up, they had no driver, and nobody knew where they came from either. People just stumbled across them by themselves. Others claimed they saw these cars driving. People got really creeped out by these. The fact we had these weird battered cars just driving by themselves appearing out of nowhere in the middle of the woods at the dead of night was quite scary to unsuspecting players. And the thing is, multiple people reported these, and people were theorising what was the cause of this. But the myth really got underway thanks to one massive rumour that became its own piece in gaming history. That, of course, being Bigfoot. Mere days after GTA San Andreas released, somebody made a post about spotting a Baco Beyond monkey man kind of creature and these mysterious ghost cars that were rolling down a hill. And it's pretty much with this post it started gaining a hell of a lot of traction. And the reason for this was actually pretty simple, because this was partly true. The monkey man, obviously nowadays we know he wasn't, but the ghost cars were. One of the biggest catalysts for this was a post saying how they saw this weird, tall, pitch black figure near these destroyed cars, that this was a sign that he was nearby and CJ was in danger. So because there was a bit of partial truth to this, it caused a lot of people who saw these posts to just boot up San Andreas and go exploring around the Baco Beyond woods looking for any possible hint of this monkey man-like creature. Within mere weeks, they were already on version 5 of the topic, because this topic of finding the monkey man completely blew up. I'd call this era the forum era, because it was around just before YouTube's launch and stuff like Reddit and social media just wasn't popular whatsoever. Either way, these kind of rumours completely spread like wildfire. Because of how popular the Bigfoot rumour had gotten, people took it upon themselves to claim they saw all kinds of other beings in San Andreas, the most other popular one of course being Leatherface. One of the catalysts behind his supposed existence was the panopticon. Players noticed that in a few places there was a lot of bloodstains all over the floor. It didn't exactly look like an accident at work kind of ordeal. And considering there was a chainsaw nearby, rumours quickly spread about Leatherface encounters. If you were here at midnight, Leatherface would come and chop you up. Another very popular one was the supposed ghost of Beverly Johnson. Because she got killed at the Johnson house, players reported her ghost could be spied walking around the house at midnight. The house also had a very weird kind of creepy empty ambience going to it as well, so it was the perfect setup. Some even reported that Beverly would appear right in front of CJ as he entered the home as a bit of a rare scary Easter egg. So you had God knows how many posts have been made about these encounters of aliens and ghosts and whatever. Now many of you already probably know this, but GTA San Andreas had to be recalled because of the hot coffee scandal. So Rockstar had to recall many of the copies, remove the hot coffee content, and then issue out an updated version pretty much. So some people try to claim that Bigfoot, Leatherface, ghosts, aliens and whatever else you can think of would only appear on very early copies of the game with the hot coffee content inside of it. These myths had a complete knock-on effect on other Rockstar games as well. Buddy was rumoured to have werewolves, aliens and ghosts, and this was partly thanks to the creepy insane asylum, which had these really weird non-human like x-rays, the fact you can hear somebody being tortured in here, and the fact the hobo that Jimmy learns fighting moves off does actually get abducted on camera. In GTA 4 we had Ratman, who is said to be half man, half rat, who lives in the subway with the homeless and he will attack you on sight. And much like Bigfoot, he had a very blurry photo as proof of his existence. It could even be argued that the amount of people claiming to have seen ghosts and all these other strange creatures impacted other non-Rockstar games as well. The Saints Row series, for example, had mysteries about a supposed merman that exists in the demo of Saints Row 1, with a really weird sound effect that would play if he's nearby. Even in other games like Call of Duty for example, it's said in the Dries Zombies map you can sometimes see the ghost of Samantha Maxis roaming the map. Or you could do this little side easter egg to get her to spawn, and oh wait, never mind, it's a screamer. But the reason I say this is because I did a bit of a search for ghosts in all kind of games before San Andreas, and there weren't really that many. There were a couple, but after San Andreas it's like ghosts and aliens or whatever were in every game you could think of. So you had people making posts of how they encountered him. Now this has become a bit of a meme, but it's true, because pretty much every single post followed the same formula of it must be midnight, it must be stormy on a Wednesday, and CJ must have night vision goggles. Go hunting around Baco Beyond and you might have a very small chance of seeing him. These kind of posts usually had something about how if you don't see him today, make sure to do it tomorrow, or you have the best chances of seeing him around 3 AM or whatever. Nowadays we know that these posts are pretty much nothing more than flat out hoaxes, and pretty much the same kind of garbage you heard about unlocking Waluigi in Mario 64 DS or how to get Lara Croft naked. But many people did believe this, and many people spent hours upon hours just scouring the woods. There were a couple of people who'd provide pictures, but they were either photoshopped or just that bad quality, you couldn't really see anything in them anyway. But when YouTube started gaining popularity, we kind of entered a new era of GTA myth hunting, which many people my age do consider the golden age. So when YouTube was a fresh new site, content on the site was lacking, that's putting it politely. It's pretty much a website dedicated to those videos you'd see on Who's Been Framed or America's Funniest Home Videos, with some people uploading clips from their favourite TV shows. But the lack of smartphones and capture cards meant gaming videos especially all looked like complete ass. But it was a very useful site for GTA myth hunters, because they finally had an outlet to easily share videos to post to the forum with about their findings. Which is great, because you claim you found Bigfoot, well, time to back up those claims with an actual video. One of the things that many people grew tired of on the forum boards were photoshops and bad pictures, and with video editing at least, it was much harder for your average GTA player to edit any videos too. The styles of editing we can see today on most YouTube channels just really wasn't possible back then. So a video recording was pretty much the best way to show your proof. Now of course, this was not all smooth sailing. For gaming videos especially, there were two ways to record your footage, either by a crappy flip phone or by screen recording software on PC. Now keep in mind, both of these, while good, they weren't exactly great, and each of them had their own kind of ups and downs. The best one at the time was to actually record your TV with a family camcorder. A flip phone was really crappy quality. Even trying to record your TV in general was an absolute pain, because in many people's cases they'd record their TV trying to play San Andreas and they'd just have like a black bar coming all the way down it. So going back to the myth hunting scene again, this is pretty much one of the only ways people were sharing videos. I found Bigfoot, here's my proof, I found him on the PS2. However, around the same time GTA myth hunting was becoming popular on YouTube, there was another trend going around on the internet at the same time. Screamers. And they were inescapable. Screamers were not just a YouTube thing, but they were just going around the internet and they were pretty much on every single topic you can think of. Do you believe in ghosts and you want to see proof they exist? Watch this video. Check out this baby who swears. Why don't you play a game of what's wrong with this picture? And screamers were just even in completely random videos too, like I'm going to look up this Easter egg on Zelda Ocarina, it's a screamer. You know what, I'm going to go and learn the lyrics for one of my favourite, oh it's got a screamer at the end of it as well. They really were completely and utterly inescapable. It's like an absolute minefield. So naturally, this played very well into the GTA myth hunting craze. Usually, in the same way videos about the proof of ghosts or aliens or whatever would work, someone would claim they found Bigfoot. They'd just be running around Back Beyond for about 30 seconds. Did you see Bigfoot? They get their sniper rifle out, and just as Bigfoot's about to make his grand appearance, screamer. Exorcist Girl or one of these other fuckers just gives you a scare instead. GTA myth hunting on YouTube was like playing Russian roulette. It was either a chance that the video was going to be a screamer, or a video that showed absolutely nothing except at best maybe a minor graphical glitch that could resemble a creature from afar. Which, to be fair, given the quality of videos at the time, you could probably pause the video at any point and you could make out Bigfoot in the distance. Going back on topic, there was another trend going on in the myth hunting community that was also happening alongside screamers, and that of course was mods. Unlike today where we have some absolutely amazing mods for San Andreas, back then mods were very basic and nowhere near as popular as they are today. Not many people back then were that familiar with modding. PC gaming was not as popular as it was, and for console players it was completely unheard of at the time. It was ripe for a lot of fake content to get made. Download a Bigfoot mod, fight him, record a small clip, and oh look, I found the secret Bigfoot hunting mission. And then we kind of circle back to the playground and forum rumours again, because a lot of people who made these kind of modded videos would usually put in some nonsense steps about like, get 100% completion, be at the cabin when it's raining at midnight on a Wednesday at 3 AM with night vision goggles again. Now when these kind of videos surfaced, they did cause a bit of chaos, because this was actual gameplay proof that Bigfoot was real, and Leatherface, and the ghost of Beverly Johnson. But some people did start asking questions. Coincidentally, why was it that most of the people who found Bigfoot, Leatherface and ghosts and whatever, why were they all playing on PC, and not PS2? Of course the PC version of San Andreas released much later, so maybe Rockstar just included these myths as a bit of a bonus thing for PC players. It'd be nice of them if they did, but no, it was just mods, and while some people tried to claim, I'm not modding I swear, they were called out by other PC players who were just like, no, this is a mod, and linked directly to it. There was a massive spanner that was thrown into the myth hunting scene, because you either had people who claimed they encountered Bigfoot without any proof whatsoever, you only had their poster go off. You had ultra low quality videos and pictures which may or may not have been photoshopped, screamer pranks, or modded footage which I swear I'm not modding. It was borderline impossible to figure out who was being truthful and who wasn't. Now some people really went that extra mile and recorded their PC like others recorded their PS2 to try and masquerade as, I swear I found Bigfoot on the PS2. But fun fact about some of these is they got called out like, why does your radar have blue CJ icons, and where the hell did you get a Ferrari from? It really wasn't until around 2010 or so I believe, when an actual dedicated community started to spring up with the likes of CFox306, David Dustin, GTA Myths 1 and a few select other channels. But the point being was there was finally a community of trusted, reputable channels who would do full, proper investigations on these myths and would also be trusted to not throw a screamer in your face or use clearly modded footage. And for their time too, their channels were quite big. over thousands of subscribers, not much by today's standards keep in mind, but for like 2011 it was a very respectable size. And many of them did move on to other games as well, like Bully and Saints Row 2 were two other games that were popular in the myth hunting scene, with the likes of Merman in Saints Row 2 and the Werewolf in Bully. However, one thing that did happen around this time, there was a massive influx of all kinds of new myths that just sprung up randomly. One of the most notable ones being Big Smoke's Ghost, which was popularised around 2011. All because of a tiny graphical glitch in C-Fox's video, where you can see a black shadow run off to the left when CJ enters the crack lab, which led many people to believe that Big Smoke's ghost was in fact real. Another brand new mystery that sprung up around 2010 or so was the 3 AM phone call myth, where it said that at 3:33 AM CJ would get a phone call, and the thing on the other opposite side of the phone just growls really loudly at you. It's a shame really, because this myth predated the 3 AM phone call videos that were complete AIDS in 2017. I'm going to skip forward a few years here, but it got to the point where some creepypastas that were popular in 2012 just started to become myths in San Andreas, like Slenderman and Squidward Suicide, Sonic.exe. They all started to become myths in San Andreas, because of course Rockstar are going to add fucking Squidward to San Andreas, and Slenderman didn't even exist when San Andreas was released. But the point being is, around this time as well was when people really started to question the legitimacy of many of these myths. Why all of a sudden is Slenderman being spotted in San Andreas when he wasn't before? At least with Bigfoot and Leatherface you could still debate their existence because people were talking about them from the very day San Andreas released. But Slenderman, Sonic.exe, the ones that were popular about 8 years after San Andreas came out, you can really see why people start to just brush off many of these myths as complete and utter nonsense. So while the Rockstar community were busy hunting for Bigfoot, Leatherface, ghosts, werewolves and ratmen, Rockstar were very silently just watching what their community were doing and taking notes. Around the time of the first Red Dead Redemption's release is when you could argue Rockstar did start to acknowledge the myth hunting communities. In Red Dead Redemption, Rockstar made sure to include a few deliberate mysteries. Red Dead's biggest mystery has to be the Strange Man, who to this day people still debate if he's some kind of supernatural or biblical figure. Saint Peter, Death, the Devil, Guardian Angel, or maybe even God himself, given how ominous he is and foreshadows things like John's death, even knows about his past and all that. Some others included Ghosts in Tumbleweed Mansion and then some, but the amount of mysterious things in Red Dead Redemption was vastly increased versus that of other previous Rockstar titles. Shortly after the release of Red Dead Redemption, they released the only expansion for it, which was called Undead Nightmare, and Rockstar went completely all out in the supernatural department. Which, to be fair, that is the point of the DLC, it's non-canonical. So it makes sense, but you can tell Rockstar had a lot of fun with this. They even added in the likes of Bigfoot, which is pretty much nothing more than a San Andreas reference, even getting an achievement which completely references it. There's also stuff like unicorns and holy water which summon God himself to smite your enemies. It was far from the most realistic experience Rockstar ever offered, but that was the point of the DLC, and yeah, but it was around here Rockstar really did start to acknowledge the supernatural elements of their games, even if it was non-canonical. Because when GTA 5 was being developed, throughout its entire marketing campaign, it looked just the same as any other Grand Theft Auto. No real hint of anything out of the ordinary or supernatural, just your typical GTA action flick. But when it released, you could tell that Rockstar were really starting to dedicate small bits of their games to the myth hunters. GTA 5 is pretty much where Rockstar went all out on this in the main game. Aliens, cults, UFOs, ghosts, they were all real now and can be found in the base game. It's really obvious Rockstar paid very close attention to the myth hunting scene from San Andreas, Bully and GTA 4, because some of the most popular myths were finally real. Aliens can be seen in the first mission, encountered when Jimmy drugs Michael, although to be found that one that is up for debate if it's real or not. They can also be seen at 100% completion with UFOs scattered across the map, which even do actually break your aircraft when you get too close to them. Bigfoot is encountered twice, during that Predator mission and being a 100% bonus mission for Franklin. There's also the Beast vs Bigfoot in GTA Online. The Epsilon cult is hinted at being real because Christopher Marsh might actually be some kind of godlike being. The list goes on and on and on. But what do all of these myths have in common? Many of the myths featured in Grand Theft Auto 5 were all myths in GTA San Andreas. However, Rockstar did create an entirely brand new mystery that sent everyone into a frenzy, which of course is the Mount Chiliad mystery, which needs no introduction. It's pretty much Rockstar's biggest mystery to date. However, as time has gone on and we've had various leaks, it's pretty much all but confirmed that the Mount Chiliad mystery leads absolutely nowhere because all the original ideas were cut. Some bits and pieces have been salvaged and reused for GTA Online, but the original outcome, it doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. But for about 2013 until I'd say around 2017, the myth hunting community really picked this up, and theories have been thrown around left, right and centre about pretty much everything really. And much like the Bigfoot hunting in the San Andreas days, people spent ages just trying to trigger anything in the map. The door next to the mural, shooting down the UFOs, even just trying to find hidden switches across the map that may or may not play a sound or open up some secret area, to no avail. It does appear that the myth hunting scene for GTA 5 is a bit more intense than your San Andreas hunting, because many people in this scene have even looked up religious and astronomical hints to solving these mysteries, which I really think is a bit of a stretch. But because of the various leaks we've had which pretty much confirmed the Mount Chiliad mystery was going to be tied to the cancelled single player DLCs, Rockstar have had a bit of fun in just throwing scraps of the mystery over to GTA Online players instead, in the form of very rare events. The stuff like being abducted, being left in your underwear on Mount Chiliad with a very unique tattoo you can't get anywhere else, UFOs being stored at Fort Sanduco and being a very rare chance of getting in a gun running event, to name some. I'm not including the Halloween event where aliens invaded Los Santos because it's a Halloween event. Pretty much every single game has like some zombie takeover or whatever. But as I'm making this, nothing truly definitive has surfaced outside of these rare events. But of every bone that Rockstar throw to GTA Online players, it does keep the Mount Chiliad mystery hunters engaged for another month. Now this kind of stuff has carried on into Red Dead Redemption 2, which I'd argue Red Dead 2 has its foot in the door in the horror genre a little bit. Because much like GTA 5, many of these myths are true. Serial killers, ghosts, UFOs, although it's a bit more intense I'd say because there's even implications of time travel which link the likes of GTA 5 and Red Dead 2 together. There's usual myth stuff, but I'd say Red Dead 2 borders left on the hunting aspect, as you're pretty much going to encounter many of these without even trying. Now, much like GTA 5, Red Dead 2 does appear to have a bit of an overlapping kind of mystery, in the form of Princess Isabeau Katharina Zinsmeister, or IKZ as some people pronounce it as. And to this day, people are still trying to figure out if she can be found in the map and is a part of some secret mission that we just need to find, or if like the Mount Chiliad mystery, she was cut entirely. And once again, as I'm making this, nothing definitive has come out of that and it's assumed to be cut. But there are still people out there who believe she can be found and still scour the map and trying to find her. However, when people were going through Red Dead 2's data files, they found a lot of weird, kind of more supernatural kind of myths and mysteries. Such as the frozen caveman, which is not really that supernatural. But there were items like a lake monster, and that pig monster thing, whatever the hell it's called, was actually going to be its own pedestrian model, which I think is bordering a bit too much on undead nightmare kind of mysteries rather than traditional mystery hunting. In my own personal opinion, stuff like the Epsilon time traveller and this thing being a pedestrian is a bit too much, but that's my personal opinion. However, given the Mount Chiliad mystery and Princess Isabeau's mysteries are currently unfinished and untriggerable, it has upset quite a few myth hunters because the implication Rockstar clearly had these ideas and implemented many of them, but they've just never finished them for whatever reason. And some of the older myth hunters from the San Andreas days preferred the simple things like just hunting mythical creatures like Bigfoot instead of playing Scooby-Doo and going on a mystery hunt. Either way, it does appear that Rockstar are purposely throwing all kinds of myths and mysteries at the community to solve. All because of people who were spreading rumours about Bigfoot, ghosts and Leatherface all the way back in San Andreas, and this is likely to continue in GTA 6, Buddy 2, Red Dead 3 and GTA 7, and probably more GTA Online updates. And so that's the history of the Rockstar myth hunting community. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, and hope to see you all at the next one. Thank you for watching and have a great day.